I wish good things to you who's watching this. It is that time of the year again. The World Cup is upon us, and since there's only a few weeks remaining before that, different countries are organizing friendly matches in order to get in shape. And today we have a feast, the classic derby between Belgium and Netherlands. Although since Fabien Mouton, the reigning champion, online champion of Belgium, is not playing, I think it would be fair to say that the match is Flanders versus Holland. And it should be a really close one, because the lineups are pretty interesting. So both teams have established players for the most part, but Belgium have lined up Learn to Fly. That's Michael Meyer, who doesn't appear in international matches that often. And on the Netherlands side, there's one player who's not familiar to me with the spectacular screen name De Schleip. Other than that, most of these players you have seen before. So let's walk through the lineups and see what interesting things we have. So table 1, Learn to Fly, is playing against Zwaluwood. Zwaluwood of Netherlands is Gert Versteeg, who's also the new national champion. They had the Dutch national championships literally a couple of days ago, I think on Sunday, and Zwaluwood won this one, so he'll be attending the World Championship in Germany later this October. Craft Giraffe, probably the most famous player from Belgium, has appeared on this channel both as a co-host many times. He has his own channel as well, where he posts Carcassonne related content, including gameplays and game analysis and stuff like this. That's Raf Misotten, the chess and StarCraft and Carcassonne specialist. He will be playing against Mark Galestein with a screen name Gottfried van Bouillon. And this is the table that we're going to start with, because it should be a fairly close duel. Now, maybe Raf is only a slight favorite. Nice Dicer versus Belly1 on table 3 should be also pretty interesting. So Nice Dicer is Johan Nuit. Wait, no, that's Tom D. Schmidt. Johan Nuit is Obi Wonder. Tom D. Schmidt, who reached the semifinals of the National Online Championships earlier this year. You saw him on stream a couple of months earlier, playing against a very strong Dutch player, Ivan Bell. Also very even duel, maybe a slight advantage to Ivan, who appears to be in very good shape right now. Table 4, Gina, the former national online and in-person champion, that's Nicolas Victor, will be playing against the newer player of Netherlands, and as the more experienced party is expected to have the edge. And on table 5, things should be really, really close between Obi Wonder and Loose Goose of Netherlands. So the match is about to start. So I'm just going to see if the games have in fact started. Craft Giraffes now rates at 550, but their true strength is, of course, higher. Although you can see that really not many Carcassonne games recently, so on a bit of a hiatus. Okay, if they're not going to start their game, I'm going to stream somebody else instead. How about table 5, Obi Wonder? Okay, they have started, so change of plans. Obi Wonder against Loose Goose. Rating-wise, at least, the Dutchman is the favorite. And they get my sympathies due to the meeple color, the correct choice of yellow versus the incorrect choice of green by Johan. But Johan gets the starting player advantage, already uses it to capitalize on the scoreboard. 4 points for Belgium. A reminder to y'all that, of course, the format is similar to the World Championship format, or to the World Cup format, rather. So best of 3 in each duel. Whichever player wins a duel gives their team a match point. The team with the greatest number of match points wins the match. So very, very straightforward. A loop road starting by the player with the yellow meeples, and now Obi here uses it to start a new road himself at the bottom. So standard moves at the start. Now we expect to see a loop road being created and something similar in response. Maybe just going over here, covering his road on one side. That's a move that appears to be in order. It's slightly better to go here than here for a variety of reasons. So let's see what the Belgian player chooses here. Instead, he chooses to take 2 points, which makes sense, but I don't think it's really strong enough. So it has some benefits in the sense that it kind of pokes a little bit at this monastery square, but you really want to finish this road as soon as possible. So just covering it on one side and then trying to finish it, this would have been my choice, but certainly the desire to get the advantage on the scoreboard immediately is completely understandable. New city for green, new monastery for yellow, a slight advantage for yellow. As a result, this monastery is fantastically placed, controlling green city, now already 6 points, supporting the city of yellow. It's a really good position here for the Dutchman. Hi, Ian. A road is placed next to green city, trying to restrict options for green. OB now makes an imprecision, so of course he wants to continue his city, but he also helping yellow's monastery. And what he should have done instead is first of all filled this square, and only when he gets a tile here, then fill that square. But it does not appear that this imprecision is going to cost him. Although we don't know that yet. You know, this square is starting to get a little bit dangerous. Maybe yellow gets to put a tile over here. Now try to go here, here, trap 2 green meeples, which would, of course, destroy green's game. The good news for green is that it is not a particularly likely event, or likely sequence of events, rather. So player exchange natural moves. We see a green farmer early on the field. It's an excellently placed farmer, even though it's scoring only 3 points for this completed city. This city is about to be completed, this city, so that's already 12 points potentially, and then of course plenty of green squares to expand the field further, and overall looks like a pretty open position. So Mr. Goose here, thinking about this here butterfly tile, decides to use it to continue his city at the top, which makes sense, hoping to retrieve it as soon as possible. Green with a clever move, covering up his city on one side and starting a new city on the other, taking full advantage of both sides of the city cap. The setup, of course, is for one of the 7 remaining triple city tiles or the 1 quadruple city tile, but an excellent tile for the Dutchman here. Now yellow gets the advantage again. Not only does he finish an 8-point city, but he also advances his monastery, protects the monastery from a block. Oh, hi Hugo. Thank you for pointing out that of course, I knew, like, I came an hour early, and I thought I had prepared everything for the stream, the scoreboard, but I did not. One thing that I forgot is to actually turn on the drawings, but hopefully everything was understandable so far. So drawings should be on. Yep, there we go. And back to this. So yellow starts a new city, trying to create an attacking platform against green's city as well. Green cannot do nothing about it, but he gets to continue his road rather, and cover up the loop. Now only 1 curve remaining for completion and 6 points on his scoreboard, but a monastery setup is being cashed here by yellow. New old monastery out, new monastery in. And then later on, he'll be looking to complete this monastery efficiently. So this is actually a really nice pattern here. He can either go for a road monastery plus road, which of course would be ideal. But even if he doesn't get the road monastery, he can get something like a curved straight line curve and build the 6-point road next to his monastery. Obi gets himself a meeple back and catches up on the scoreboard a little bit. He's now trying to finish his 12-point city on the left, which yellow, of course, is trying to prevent with this meeple over here. Yellow now gets yet another monastery to pair up with his existing monastery. I presume that green is going to try to block. If the block is not successful, then yellow will have a great advantage. In fact, yellow can even afford green finishing this city pretty easily. So green gets 2 points, but most importantly, create an attacking platform against this monastery. A city cap is being drawn by yellow. He gets 4 points, gets his meeple back, and slightly obstructs this here area. Maybe later hoping to draw something like a curve and restrict that square even more. Also, it's important to note that this here is the last dagger of its kind. It's the last right-handed dagger. There's still 2 left-handed daggers available, so it's not actually possible to block this city in one move. But because all the right-handed daggers are out, this means that, in general, blocking threats in this position against either party's city will be more potent than in a usual position. Straight line for Obi, not an obvious place to put it, really. He could go here, actually, and protect his city a little bit, so this would leave still, what, 5 tiles that fit into this square, and it would kind of nicely protect it against a curve. But I like that he didn't do that, because it's not really that easy to block that city, and even if yellow gets a road tile, yeah, and there we go. Dagger tile drawn by Obi now. Great tile for the Belgian. He's now gonna drop a farmer in addition to completing his city, now trying to invade the main field using a straight line, or a curve rather, or a road monastery. But look at this, the quadruple city tile was drawn by Loose Goose here. And there was no good move that he could have played, so he was forced to actually break his own city. And very unfortunate draw here for yellow. Obi now completes his city, gets 2 meeples back, gets the meeple majority, but a monastery completed for yellow. He's also starting a new road, potentially looking to build the road around his monastery to make sure that he can score 2 points per each tile. So 1 point for the road, 1 for the monastery, 1 for the road, 1 for the monastery, 2 for the road actually, and 1 for the monastery as well, and then take advantage of this road end trying to finish that road. So certainly a pattern that he will be looking forward to building, and not really possible to do anything about this for Obi that easily. Obi now drops a farmer. I really like the idea trying to get a stronghold on the field, especially given the fact that Loosey Goosey here is kind of caught up building stuff. So this city is nice, but it's not going to be completed. These features are very nice. They are going to be completed, but it's going to take some time, and so Obi can use his temporary meeple majority to try and get a stronghold on the field. So I really like the second farmer here, the third farmer here rather, but tactically, this move was significantly stronger here. Kind of not necessarily directly invading that field, but simply using that meeple. Do you know how in gymnastics, in practice, there's like, you know, this athlete who does all those things and revolves around the bar, and there's the coach with the mat that's kind of trying to catch them in case something goes wrong. And this meeple, if it were to be placed over here, like not directly connecting to the field but 2 tiles away, he could simply use this meeple as a flexible meeple. So either a secondary field for 6 or 9 points, or in case if things get real, he could use and slide over the mat and invade the main field. So this is a bit of an inflexible move, and also leaving a city cap like this exposes another field connection platform, which yellow will be able to take advantage of. But it's a subtle detail which not necessarily is going to come into play. Hi Illusionist Edjus, hi Temrak. Great to see y'all. So Loosey Goosey here with a curve and a rather straightforward move. I mean, why don't we just continue our monastery? Also note that this move was really smart by the Dutchman, because starting a new city makes sense. Starting a new city away from the field which we're currently losing makes sense. But this move is also interesting. I think it's a bit of a misprioritization, but I really like it. So he's now trying to block this invasion square. Actually, it's really smart. Yeah, and it totally works. So great idea here. Of course, this farmer, even though it has no way of penetrating the main field, it will be having a nice secondary field of his own, worth 6 points. But here comes the problem with this meeple, because you see, this guy's scoring 9, and this guy's scoring 6. But what yellow's going to do, yellow's going to go over here, possibly right now, actually. Yeah, why don't we do that? And then bring this guy together with this guy, and now instead of having 2 fields worth 6 and 9 points, he's going to have only 1 field for 9 points. But instead, he goes for a different idea, which I actually also really like. So he now tries to block the entrance for another farmer, which also makes a lot of sense, but it could cause some trouble in the future. So first of all, it's a real nice idea, right? Because this guy cannot enter here anymore. There's nothing that remains into the square. As you may remember earlier, there are no right-handed daggers remaining. And actually, now at this point in the game, there are no daggers of any kind. So all 6 city caps with a turn have been drawn. I can circle them for you on the board, which means that there are even more blocking opportunities for in this position. But, as I was going to say, this guy had the opportunity to connect over here, and this is something that Obi Wonder would be looking to do. Yeah, so this Dorito with a road is an absolutely lovely tile before Loosey Goosey manages to do anything about that. Obi's now trying to come in over here and munch on this beautiful field. And actually, if he succeeds, and it looks increasingly likely that he will do so, I really don't see how yellow can come back into this realistically, because this field is worth 15 points, and it's very, very difficult to reinvade. In fact, I really don't see any straightforward invasion spots, you know, short of a Hail Mary using a road monastery. So yellow would need to set something up, and yellow would also need to still complete his features here. And yellow would need to do just so many things. Also, green now managed to complete his city here and still preserve the 2 separate fields. So yellow is now trying to go all in on blocking green's field connection at the bottom, which is still possible, but it requires a lot of tiles. He's going to need to go here to first of all restrict the connection towards the crossroads, and then here and here to try and make sure that the quadruple crossroads, which has already been drawn, does not fit over here. So green makes an interesting move. Let me think about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's only 1 curve remaining, which means that it's now a bit harder to place something into this square. Okay, that makes sense. Green, look at this. Green is building up. Yellow city, he's sacrificing 3 points for the sake of invading over here. So green really wants to just take control of all the possible fields and try to get this guy into the field over here. This is something that Loosey Goosey is trying to prevent. But I wonder if that's actually worth it. Maybe it was even better to drop a farmer himself and then trying to equalize. Because at this point, this 12-point farmer is valuable enough in its own right. So even if green does not connect to this field, green will be enjoying these 12 points quite a lot. Yeah, very difficult position for for Obi Wonder it's a wonderful position. For Loosey Goosey it's a very difficult position. So what does red do here? Red, green. Really not that many options. Maybe just going here, limiting our opponent's field invasion options. Maybe going here for the same reason. You know what? There's still a splitter tile remaining, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's this thing over here. So then, from green's perspective, we can actually still go here and connect all the fields. So putting this monastery here would make it harder for Loosey Goosey to go here and block this square. I guess with 11 tiles remaining, Obi must be thinking whether it's worth meepling the monastery, and so he might actually also go here, and this would also make a lot of sense, simply going for points. He goes there for points as well, and this also makes a lot of sense. He's also putting pressure on this square. Yeah, this is also a nice idea. Obi is now trying to prevent Loosey from completing his city. But Loosey now with the curve, and that's a fantastic tile for him. He now can get his 2 meeples back. Please don't do anything else. Although, he might be tempted to go over here, but at this point, he should realize that his position is severe enough that he actually can't afford to do this. I think what he needs to do, he needs to go here, and he simply needs to hope that he draws the splitter, and then he can use the splitter over here to finish the 2 cities and drop a farmer here, and maybe equalize the green farmer at the bottom. Ah, but he also could be tempted to go here, because this move would give him 6 points, right, by unifying this 6-point field with this 12-point field. He could also go here and actually try and continue blocking this square. He could only restrict it towards the 50-50, yeah, so he does choose to do that. That's, actually, no, it's not that bad. It's really, really not that bad. And his idea now, he's betting his game on the crossroads. So he wants to get the crossroads to finish here, the monastery and the 2 roads. It's now impossible for Obi-Wonder to block that opportunity, because if he goes over here, well, he still leaves the crossroad that yellow can draw. But what Obi can do, Obi can actually go here and still try and preserve the chance of getting a splitter tile and invading the field like this. And if you look at his win percentage, like at the probabilities, this move would make a lot of sense. So even though you're allowing yourself only 1 tile that fits into that square, this 1 tile can mean a great deal, because your opponent already needs a crossroads, right? They've bet their game on the crossroads. So now, once you've set up a different tile, the splitter tile, then you're kind of forcing your opponent to draw 2 particular tiles. So they need to draw the crossroads and they need to draw the splitter, and probability-wise, it's a much, much harder thing to do. So that's a great move here from Johan. Theon now is looking to continue his city on the right, I presume. Really, the strongest thing that I can see is scoring 1 point. One thing he needs to realize is that it looks like a difficult position. Like, he's going to need to draw all those good tiles. So many players would be tempted to go here and actually try and permanently block that square, but I don't think it is even worth it. I think it's a bit too slow. I think we just have to hope that we draw all the good tiles at this point. The Dutchman may disagree with me. Hi, Glavier. Thanks, Nico, for confirming that we have a bit of an upset on table 1. Learn to Fly. The newer Belgian player won against the reigning champion of the Netherlands. So 1-0 for Belgium. Well, not for Belgium, just 1-0 on that table. Because the best of 3 is, of course, not over. Loosey Goosey here with 4 minutes on this clock. I also didn't comment on the time format, but instead of the usual time bank thing, we have a classic 15-minute format for the entire game, which is preferable by the majority of players, I believe. Based on the timing, I can tell that Loosey's trying to figure out everything he possibly can. Yeah, so he simply gets an extra point. Obi gets himself a splitter tile and the majority on the field. But you know what? It's still not that bad, because first of all, Lucy gets this crucial tile. And he can now go here, get a meeple back, and then later try and drop some farmers. And if he equalizes the field, I believe he actually wins this, because he has this big ruin. But now he needs to decide. Does he need to drop a farmer now, or he goes for the farmer now and he will get blocked? If that's why I didn't want him to do that. I didn't want him to do that. I think it was a little bit impatient. And also, there isn't a tile that fits there anyway. Even before the block, I don't think the block was even necessary. I don't think they're road plus field tiles. Oh, there's the road monastery, of course. There's the road monastery. There's the road monastery. So, but wait. If there's the road monastery, I'm sure there must have been a better way of invading that field. And he even got the road monastery. So you know what? Loosey-goosey here. I think making a quite a sizable mistake. Yeah, we can see he's saying no, and rightfully so, because yeah, he realizes this. Look at the chat. He did mess this one up. The reason why he messed this one up is because there were other ways to invade this without getting blocked. Actually, how exactly does he do that? Let me think about this. Where did he need to invade? Oh! No. Well, actually, there were ways. For example, he could have invaded over here. Like this. Hoping for the road monastery. And then this would actually have been way, way harder to block. So that's one option. It's very tricky to see. What else? I guess this one, yeah, this one was the way to go. Maybe there were some other patterns available, or somewhere here perhaps was also an option. Yeah, not really. It's very tricky to find these things, but maybe with 2 minutes on the clock, he should have burned more of his time. So let's have a look at the chat here. Loosey-goosey saying I should have placed the crossroads on the other side. Yes, exactly. And this? Wait, would this have won them the game? Because Obi's ahead like 33 points. But the field was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 30. Well, the field was 33 exactly, but I'm also counting in that this guy scored 3. Yeah, so I think there was still a way to win. An alternative was actually to just wait and go here and simply get a meeple back. Yeah, it was a very, very tough position and very well played by Obi, just kind of dropping farmers everywhere here. Also, most importantly, protecting that connection, allowing for him to draw the splitter, because Green did get a bit unlucky by not drawing the tile that connects over here. So Green made sure that he could win either by drawing this or by drawing this. So really, really nice field management by Obi Wonder. Yellow tried very nicely to get some efficient scoring, these powerful monasteries plus the high scoring ruin, but without the equalization of the field, of course, it was nowhere near enough. Obi-Wan's saying, don't know if I would have made a difference. I think he's speaking about the overall point count. Maybe. Yeah, because you know what the problem is? If you were to successfully invade the field, then this tile from Loosey Goosey, from Obi Wonder, he can simply use it for scoring, just getting 2 points somewhere, or even more. Or even going over here and like scoring for these meeples, yeah. Scoring for this road, for example. And with that, he will be like a little bit ahead. Also a bit of a funny comment that Loose Goose is saying that he forgets that Belgians can speak Dutch. I feel like somebody should be offended by that, but I'm not sure who. Yeah, this is exactly what Obi-Wan is saying, that he's thinking that he can just allow the field invasion and simply take a couple of points and still be a little bit ahead. But they will be going right next into the game. Do let me know if you prefer for me to stick with this pairing, which is going to be my default decision, or have a look at multiple games at once. So we're going to start with this, where Loosey Goosey already gets themselves the advantage. So maybe we're going to have ourselves a Dutch revenge over the Belgian here. A 12-point city being completed. Obi, however, with the right to move a nice monastery, this city over here. And now quite a relatively straightforward decision at his level. He needs to go over here and try and build a loop road, maybe meepling the city, maybe meepling the road straight up. But not this. It's a move. It's a mistake. It's a plain mistake. Like, at his level, I think you really, really don't want to do this. So the main problem with this move is that he's continuing his city and he's freeing up Yellow's road. So he's helping Yellow get his meeple back without guaranteeing that he's going to get a meeple back. So what he should have done is simply waited patiently for either a starting tile or better even a dagger so that he can finish his city and also not help Loosey Goosey's road a bit too early. So yeah, that's a clear tactical mistake. I think that simply could be opening preparation issue, perhaps. But he gets bailed out. And look at this, what a wonderful road. Starting a 5-pointer here, 2 monasteries, but Loosey Goosey here with the city. So it's very interesting imbalance, scoreboard versus monasteries. Obi's now finishing his city at the top and dropping a farmer because we anticipate a big field fight here as well. But in this game, Obi's the one with the monasteries, and so Obi's the one with the temporary meeple disadvantage. So will he be able to somehow get an equality on the field, or will we see the same scenario as last game with colors reversed? H. Hexic is asking, what are your thoughts on playing on the Steam Epic Asmodee Carcassonne version as compared to Board Game Arena? I haven't tried any of those. The only other site that I tried was many, many years ago. That was the German platform Brettspielwelt. But I don't think strong players are playing there these days. Anyway, so very interesting decision here for Obi to start a new city on the right. Well, actually, it's not as much as interesting decision as the lack of squares on the board that could have been used. Anyway, let's see what Lucy decides here to do with this cow tile. I think some blocking move is in order. Either we go here and start blocking this monastery square, or we go here and delay the recovery of this road. Both would be equally annoying. This would be sort of the more straightforward move. This would be more of like a Japanese style move. Ooh, he goes for the Ukrainian technique. Well, I don't think this is the strongest move, but it's good enough. It's really, really good enough. So it actually will make it very, very difficult for green to finish his monasteries, which will allow loosey-goosey here to take a stronghold on the field. And of course, you need the meeple on that city for insurance. Yeah, I really like it. But green is responding in kind by now trying to block yellow city. Only 2 tiles remaining that fit there. So they're really, really annoying. Yellow now should just leave this guy alone. And I think legit trying to go over here and restrict this road here. Yeah, very, very interesting position. Lots of blocking. So let them think, now it's time to update the scoreboard. He does go for the restriction, or rather delay than the restriction. Okay. So Learn to Fly did win against Zwollywood, the first one. Nice Dicer lost to Ivan Bell. Gina asserting his experience against D. Schleip. And Obi Wonder we saw here. Craft Giraffe winning against Godfried. So after the first round of games, it looks very, very good for Belgium. All right, back to this. Obi Wonder gets one of the daggers, not the left-handed daggers that yellow needs, but the right-handed daggers. And actually, I really like green's move here. So what he's trying to do, he's actually trying to give himself a different type of win condition. He just wants to build the city and complete it, for which he still has, I was going to say a 75% chance, but a 75% chance is just to get this tile. He will still need to get probably 3 Doritos to properly finish it, and yellow still has time to try and invade that city. Green builds up the monastery. Yellow really can't do that much. Yeah, yellow needs to make a decision. So he could go here and try and start obstructing that square. But if he does so, he eliminates the last invasion platform that he possibly has. So yellow kind of needs to decide how realistic it is to try and block that city. And I think it's not such a bad idea. Because if we go here, then our opponents might go here at some point to advance their city and also put additional pressure on this square. And then we might get some sort of big tile and put pressure on this square instead. Instead, yellow goes at the top, trying to block a little bit. So he's trying first to break green's monastery, and he's also trying to break green's field connection. Not that it really matters, but it does a little bit, you know? So if loosey-goosey here, okay, he doesn't go for it, which I'm a bit surprised about. I think Lucy could have gone over here. Oh, look at the greed of green. I really like it. So not connecting to the farmer yet, but taking 3 points, hoping to then later take another 3 points with the curve. Yeah, so this guy's kind of trying to build around this square and break that square perhaps, and then maybe draw the last remaining cow tiles, horse tile rather, to score 4 points for the road and build up his ruin like this. That's very interesting. Obi Wonder now completes his setup for 6 points. Very smart idea here, but it has a downside that it leaves a city cap in what's likely to be his opponent's field. But for now, it is actually green's field, because this guy is yet to connect to the field, even though he will do so eventually, unless he forgets. And this guy will only connect to the field if Obi Wonder successfully completes his city. Because you know what? If this city gets blocked somehow, then I can easily imagine Obi Wonder getting the starting tile and simply not putting it over here, allowing his 3-point road meeple to be trapped, simply to make sure that this guy is also trapped with 6 points. Obi getting some quick points for the city cap, still hanging in there. Loosey-goosey with a monastery, road monastery, fantastic tile. Normally it is the most impactful tile in Carcassonne, as has been shown by statistical analysis, but on this particular board, not so many good places for it. So what do? Now, first of all, we zoom out a little bit because this map is getting out of control. Second, we might meeple it here, but it looks a little bit slow, to be honest. Maybe meepling here is not such a bad idea. We're going to be putting some pressure against this square. We're going to be controlling the monastery of our opponent. Yeah, maybe this is what I would do. We don't need to worry about our meeples too much because this here city is so likely to get completed. So we're going to have a second meeple back in hand soon enough, and we can use it either for a field fight or for simple quick points. We still have these two tiles. Actually, one tile at this point. But still, one tile that fits there. So a 50-50 chance of meeple recovery. But instead, Lucy with an interesting strategic idea. I'm not sure what I think about it, but it could work. So the point of this move is simply trying to expand the field, adding this city cap over here, and also creating some attacking platforms. So Lucy's plan is to use his long-term meeple majority, so basically keep everything blocked here, block this square, hope that his opponent does not draw a tile here, and then he wants to get a city cap, drop a farmer, and then connect all the field here. And that way he will be controlling a 15-point field with a 2 versus 1 majority. A chance for it to become an 18-point field if this city gets completed, or 21-point field if this city gets completed. And he also has this additional 6-point farmer, which could either stay on a field of his own, or if a starting tile is placed in the square, eventually penetrate this field for additional support. It's a very interesting idea here from Lucy. Obi. With a city tile, he's now going for it. He's building up, but he's also looking to try and break multiple squares at the same time. Just imagine if Obi on the next tile draws the road Dorito. He gets to go over here, break this square, and also break this square because this guy has not yet connected to the field. Yellow decides to go for it anyway, drops another farmer for insurance. Obi does not get a blocking tile, simply gets a monastery. No straightforward place to put it. Maybe here? Trying to block that square, which is actually not necessarily in green's interest even. Maybe green better off going here, trying to build around this square. We definitely don't go here because we don't want to make this square vulnerable. This 1 point is nay worth it. We could also think of board shaping. Maybe going here and trying to set up some field attacks in the future. He goes for a monastery, which I think is a heavy strategic mistake. Why would you do that? So this is something that desperate people do, but I don't think there's need to be desperate. Well, I could be wrong, but it looks like a big mistake, because how is he completing this monastery? It's going to take him an unbelievably long time. So, and the only way he can get a meeple back is from getting this tile. Yeah, it appears to be really, really misguided, especially now that Lucy gets the curve. He's going to use it to go here, invade the field, indirectly protect his city, and also support another farmer. And even if green completes the monastery, like, I'm not sure what these 9 points do for his win probability, because green's main winning chances lie in either the city or field equalization. So let's see what green does here. So yellow connects to the field. Honestly, I have a feeling that maybe Obi thought that he had 2 meeples or something. And that's why he did it. Green is still trying to complete his cities. Now a little bit harder. A city cap is drawn by Loosey Goosey, and he forgoes points, which is a mistake. Now Obi is going to cover up his city and have a 75% chance to finish a monstrosity. Make it 50. The first out of the 2 starting tiles is drawn by the Dutchman. Who will be finally just scoring points, but the slight imprecision, it was better to take the points in his own field, of course. Because there's some scenarios, if Obi waits for this tile a little bit too long, then what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that Obi's going to complete the big city, but Yellow's going to win anyway, this because of his field control. I guess this is what could happen. Anyway, so Lucy now gets a splitter tile, with which he'll probably be connecting to the field at the bottom. Because you kind of need that farmer here, don't you? Or do you actually? Because you know from Yellow's perspective, Green's only chance is to complete a big city. But if Green completes the big city, then Green will be voluntarily letting in this Yellow guy into the field. So it's not like he needs this connection, but he decides to do it anyway for, insurance purposes, which makes sense. Obi with the crossroads. He could have scored so many points, but instead he's kind of struggling with his monastery. And he's playing very fast. He's clearly tilting. For example, that position was so important to think hard. Like, obviously you have to build up your monastery, but you need to think like about which tiles exactly are you going to use in which squares for completing that monastery. And maybe he just thought very quickly, but I doubt that this was the case. And it even seems to me that rotating this tile the other way was better to make sure that he can still take advantage of one of the 4 remaining straight lines to go here and then here. Because now this is a monastery-shaped square, and, well, all the monasteries are already on the board. And case in point, Obi now is going to go here, and he will not be able to finish his monastery. If only had he rotated this tile the other way, he could have gone here, and he would have already completed his monastery. So this is why it's so important to, first of all, keep your composure if you're in a difficult position. And second, think more for crucial moments. But now it looks like Loosey Goosey will be equalizing the score in this duel because he gets his dagger tile, he finishes the 4-point city, gets 3 points extra for the field, gets a meeple back, and also manages to grab a 5-point road, which he set up a few moves ago for himself. And I don't think ain't no big city is gonna save no Obi Wonder here. Thank you, Nico, for confirming that Belgium gets some better news. Craft Giraffe convincingly defeats Mark Galestine 2-0 on table 2. But with the same level of convincingness, Ivan Bell defeats Tom D. Schmidt. So both countries exchange match points right now. 1 Belgium, 1 Netherlands. Gina convincingly again defeats Die Schleip. So Belgium is very close to winning the match. In fact, in order for Netherlands to win this match, they need to win pretty much everything. And they're being close because Wally equalized against Learn to Fly. Now, Loose Goose is going to equalize against Obi Wonder in all likelihood, and we will be having our 2 deciders. Yeah, look at this move here. Like, Taewon realizes that all he needs to do is really just spend a meeple anywhere. There's still a starting tile available. I kind of want a green to draw it because that would be entertaining. It's always satisfying to see big cities completed regardless of which side does it. Yeah, and look how much not having a meeple hurts Obi here. And it's really not so much the spending the meeple on the last monastery, which was questionable to begin with, but it's really that move which pains me so much to see. If only he would have rotated this tile differently, he would have had like a meeple back and way, way more points on the scoreboard, and he would not allow yellow to do shenanigans like this. Yellow just simply keeps dropping city cabs in his farm. And Obi can't even clean them up. Straight line for Lucy here. Hi Crafty, congratulations on your win, which we didn't see. I was actually going to stream your table, but the only reason I didn't is because y'all started a minute late. And so I went for Obi Wonder instead. Who now is suffering quite hard. Which makes me want to watch the other game as well. But I don't want to miss the moment when green gets the starting tile and finishes the big city. But let me just look at Zwali here and open that game. Obi Wonder. Yeah, with a curve. Okay. We're not going to miss it. We're not going to miss that satisfying moment. These guys are playing their decider. Equal position, at least, it seems, on the scoreboard with 42 tiles remaining. Ooh, both monasteries, 2 monasteries per side. Lots of tension, yay. Oh, look at this, the city invasion. Man, this is so much more interesting. Okay, we're going to come back to this soon enough. Lucy here is just beepling road. Obi Wonder finally finishes his monastery when it's way, way too late. And Lucy Goosey gets himself the last starting tile as well. So Obi's not even going to receive the courtesy of getting 2 meeples back. Has to hurt. So we're going to see the last tile being used in a couple of moments. I'm going to already update the score. Lucy Goosey won this one by like 30 points or something. All the monasteries and the ruins are not going to save Johan from a loss here. And we need to urgently now gravitate towards this other table because so much here... Wait! Yeah, there we go. So much here is happening. No, oh, no, I messed this up. Okay, that's fine. We're looking at Craft Giraffe's profile page for some reason. Let's go here again. Zwallywood has too many L's. Obi Wonder is still thinking where to place his last tile. Just kind of looking. I did this again. Oh man, how hard is it? Let's go again. Zwallywood with double L. Playing a game. Okay. I can do this. I can avoid clicking the wrong buttons. And I've succeeded in that. So, learn to fly with the black meeples, but you know, this is looking really, really good for Belgium, despite the fact that he's down 12 points on the scoreboard. His setups are just absolutely amazing. First of all, 2 monasteries waiting to happen. They're being controlled by Zwali's road, but that is okay because black can get himself a curve and also drop a farmer. And the second setup that he has is for the 2, or rather now after this move, now 1 remaining Dorito tile. So Zwali must be super happy about having drawn this. And this goes over here, which would allow him to win this big 20-point city against this guy. Right? So 2 black meeples versus 1 red meeple. The good part for black here is that even if he misses the coin flip, even if he does not get this tile, then he's not going to lose a meeple because this red road is sticking into the square as well. So this is a really great position for black, who even now gets some extra on his scoreboard. So it looks like Belgium is headed for victory in this match, unless Gert first of all manages to draw the Dorito tile, of course, because a Dorito tile would be an automatic win. Like, not only the 20-point city, but a 12-point or a 9-point farmer rather comes with it. It's just too much to bear. Learn to Fly now needs to try and delay Red's monastery a little bit. But there's some additional problems for Red. You see, the completion of this other setup for Black will also allow him to drop a lucrative 9-point farmer. And since both sides have only one meeple, it's not really possible for somebody to drop a farmer without losing a significant amount of value. Because let's say if Red chooses to drop a farmer here for anticipation, then imagine what happens if Red draws a crossroad on his next move. Then Red will not be able to score 2 points for this road, for example. So kind of Red needs to wait until he can recover his monastery, and Black needs to wait until he can recover his monastery or just win the game on the spot with a Dorito tile. So a move from Black, which would make sense, is maybe going here and trying to restrict this square a little bit more, simply trying to delay the recovery of Red's meeple, because it would make sure that Red cannot drop these anticipation farmers. So in a position like this, meeple counts are really huge. Yeah, I don't really see another move for Black. I mean, he could start a city somewhere, but I don't think a city is really nowhere near as impactful as be such a restriction. Because you know what? If we just go here, then at the very least we make sure that our opponent cannot draw curves. Or at least they cannot use curves to complete their monastery. And we're even setting up some ideas. No! No! I can understand this move, but I don't think it's good at all. He's, I think, misprioritizing, because he now allows Red to recover a meeple, which looks great for the Netherlands at the moment. So now Red 17 points ahead on the scoreboard, and now with that second meeple, now Red is going to start dropping those insurance farmers. So this timing was everything. And I think the reason why this guy wanted to go here is simply to connect the roads. So his idea was this. Yeah, we can see how impactful this was. So Red was able to drop an insurance farmer. Black, of course, gets himself meeples back, but Red managed to get himself a favorable position on this field. Black, of course, catches up on the scoreboard with these extra 16 points, but Black is still behind. And now Black has to draw the Dorito tile in order to win. So this is how impactful this move here was. So the purpose, of course, was, well, this guy has 3 points, and this guy has 4 points. Why don't we connect so that I can make myself 1 more point? But this 1 point, or even these extra points that Red could get from continuing his road onwards, is just nowhere near as impactful as a meeple block or even a meeple delay. It's a tricky position to navigate, but timing is important in positions where there are not many meeples. Hi, Fabian. Yes, Craft Giraffe, my PC really likes your profile page. As do we all. As we all do. Yeah, well, anyway. I can understand Black's reasoning here, and he still can climb out of it. So probably it's really just the Dorito tile that he needs. But you know what? From Zwali's perspective, maybe Zwali can win this, even if Black finishes his city. So what Zwali must do he must go here and drop a farmer. And then try to threaten to take over this field. Then maybe black will be forced to equalize here. And then red must go here and drop another farmer. Well, actually, red needed to go here, but red didn't get a tile to do that. So then red needs to drop another farmer here to have compensation for the city. And then if red has these two farmers, first of all, some of them can sneak into the main field. But second of all, 9 points here, 9 points here, that's already 18 points. He has 9 points on the scoreboard extra. The city's going to be 20. He has 5 points for the road. So actually, there are some scenarios how yellow, why do I keep doing this? How red can withstand the completion of that city. Okay, it's going to be very interesting. So black is the first one on the farm. The 6-point farmer is good enough by itself, even if it did not get connected to the main field, but this threat is still very, very much real. And Zwali does not really get a tile that he can block, with which he could block. Honestly, Zwali doesn't get a tile with which he could do anything, really. Is there some board shaping that we can make? Yeah, he just decides to start a new ruin, which makes some sense. It makes some sense. The purpose of that ruin is maybe he could get like 4, 5, 6 extra points at the very, very end of the game with his extra meeple. So, but maybe there were some other ideas going over here perhaps, or over here, setting up some field connections. Learn to fly. Now protecting his farming option. And this is looking really, really dangerous. So now what Zwali has to do, he has to get himself a road tile and drop a farmer to equalize this black farmer, but he must do so before Learn to Fly gets a monastery to connect, or even before Learn to Fly gets something like this to eliminate that platform, which is why this move is incredibly smart. It's really, really smart. It is making it harder for black to eliminate this farming platform. Okay, so Zwali gets Monastery, which I think he has to use in that spot simply to score. He has to go there and then later hope to equalize the field in a different way. These 9 points, it's too much. We can't pass up on those. There's still 1 Monastery remaining. But also, like, Learn to Fly is really, really smart. So he took these 4 points, right? And he just made it so much more tempting for red to put a tile over here. But I think red has to do it, man. Because if you think about this, if you're not going to go, wow, okay, so red decides to not fill that square, which I have some issues with. Because, you know, now Learn to Fly has 2 super impactful tiles. He has the Road Monastery to overrun the farm and get the 9 points extra, and he has the Dorito tile to go here. And so kind of Zwali has to learn to draw both in order to win. Because if Learn to Fly gets this here tile, which he does, also I think it's a genius move here from Gert. It's amazing. He's kind of trying to connect to this field like this, and also to get himself insurance against Learn to Fly getting a Dorito tile. That's very, very interesting. And he's also creating an opportunity for a gigantic city, which I'm not sure can be even claimed. There are no dagger tiles, no triple cities, and no starting tiles. So in fact, this city cannot be claimed by anyone simply because there are no tiles, other than of course, the road Dorito to go here. So, oh, this is fascinating. Zwali connects to the field, but Learn to Fly finishes himself this gigantic city, gets himself a 6-point farmer, but he also completes a road for Zwali and gives him a meeple back, and Zwali has a chance. He now needs to win the big field. The field is equal, but it's worth a lot of points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 completed cities on it. So that'll be 21. If Zwali equalizes, he's going to be still behind, because this field is worth a lot. Oh, that's incredibly smart by Zwali. That's an awesome field connection. Look at this. He's not only dropping a farmer through a curve, which I think is unblockable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's almost unblockable. There's still one crossroads remaining, but there are more curves remaining than crossroads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. No, 3 curves still available that fit into that square. So that's fantastic, fantastic move. Very nice probabilities here. And in addition to connecting, he's also going to get these extra 4 points. So this will be a 25-point sequence for him, which actually will put him ahead. So Learn to Fly is ahead 18, 24 because of this extra farmer. With this 25 points, 4 from the road and 21 from the fields, Zwali is going to be ahead 1 point. Mikiel with a city tile. He tries to go for a block, and he might be successful. Zwali can just simply score. But he can also score in such a way that would allow him to maybe set up a field connection platform. So, for example, there's a move. Okay, this is also an option. He simply decides to go for the ruin. Learn to Fly can actually go here. Oh, this is smarter. He goes for the scoring. Zwali, can he complete this city? Yeah, by the way, for Zwali, I was thinking of like another move going over here, trying to set up a field connection through here. But then also Zwali has to be efficient. He cannot afford to win this field with a 4 versus 2 majority. It has to be exactly 3 versus 2 majority because he needs his other meeple for scoring. Yeah, I mean, both players are playing this endgame really, really well. And now from Zwali's perspective, it's tempting to go here and defend, but I don't think it's a good idea to do so. So he might go here and even drop another farmer for insurance, but he can't really afford this. If only he was a bit further ahead on the scoreboard, like, if, for example, if you were to claim the 9 points from the monastery, which he definitely should have done before, then he could just get himself another farmer and then pretty much guarantee himself the field connection. So the idea is this. Mikiel can still get himself a crossroads and go here. If Red is going to go here with another farmer, then even after this crossroads is placed here, he's still going to have this majority. Okay, so Learn to Fly gets himself a curve, and Zwali's going to lose. Because the remaining tiles are a crossroads and a curve. And regardless of which one he draws, he's not going to connect to the field. So that's why there was a way for Zwali to still go for this field. He could have gone here, dropped a farmer like this, and tried to connect here. So he would win the field that way. But I don't think it would have been enough for him. That's the thing. Because Mikiel found this amazing sequence here, the outrunning route. So look at this. This was a 9-point meeple investment. He went here, just ignoring the farm stuff, going for a 6-point road, and then dropping another 3-point farmer with tempo. And there's really nothing that Zwali could have done realistically here, short of drawing his curve a little bit early. Yeah, so really what Red needed to do was to draw the curve early enough so that he can get these 4 points and also get a meeple. What a fantastic game. Now Belgium is going to win this match, and the lower rated player and the least experienced player on Team Belgium wins against possibly the most experienced player, at least in this lineup, for Zwali. I think at the moment the title of the strongest player in the Netherlands would have to go to Patrick Beckenoot with a screen name Bexy, who is not playing today. Yeah, exactly. 15 points is the... Wait, 15 points is the difference. Wait. Yeah, so you see, 15 points is the difference. What Zwali got on his last 2 moves was 6 points for this farmer plus 4 points for the road, so that's 10. The best that he could have done is going over here, drop to farmer, connect to the field. Field is 21, so he could have gotten himself 11 points more, which would still put him at 4 points behind. And that's why it was so important from Mikhail's perspective to really not get too scared about that field and just go the outrunning route. And it's an excellent recognition, because I noticed that many players, whenever they see a field attack, they get scared and try to devote extraordinary resources into trying to thwart his opponent. But that was such a lovely find by Black, and yeah, a really, really well played game, even by both parties, although some imprecisions here and here as well. But there's no Carcassonne game without imprecisions, and imprecisions is what is sometimes what makes it fun to watch as well. Alfonso is saying the monastery was an 18-point swing. Yeah, that one has to sting. And another reason why I actually don't like Zwali's idea for foregoing the monastery, and it's not just because it leaves these high-impact tiles for his opponent. You know, these 2 high-impact tiles, and it's not because it sacrifices this many points, although that too. Black still had an option to connect to the field without the monastery, and actually, case in point, if you remove this monastery from the map and look at this route, the black meeple would have still gotten into the field. So there were still tiles to connect, even if this monastery were not to be drawn. So preventing this farmer from joining the party was all but impossible. Moreover, that field was already worth 9 points in and of itself. So actually, it's not bad to connect this guy to the field and then try to drop another farmer from Red's perspective and equalize, because that would be effectively equalizing this 9-point field. Just kind of all the way from the outside. Anyway, that, of course, was a crucial point in the game. We're going to congratulate Belgium for winning this match. I'm going to update the scoreboard, but we still have one duel going on. Maybe just the last tiles there. So Learn to Fly, bringing the crucial points to Belgium. So, Obi Wonder versus Loosey Goosey. Playing their decider. Started 20 minutes ago. 11 tiles remaining. Ooh, and looks like Belgium is headed for a sweep. So first of all, we've definitely backed the right horse by choosing to follow the closer of the encounters. Well, 30 points is just the scoreboard, right? But I doubt that yellow's going to have something to make up for it. It has to be a gigantic field under yellow's control. Well, you know, there's some fields under yellow's control. But it's now being invaded by green. And there's a secondary field from green, which he is controlling with 2 meeples. So yeah, so yellow actually isn't ahead on the field and isn't ahead on the scoreboard. I really am now starting to get curious what happened in this game that the green guy just did so much. Did he complete this city? Did he complete this monastery? Did he complete this city? Did he do all of these things? So, Obi wanted to get some scoring tiles, which you can use for a variety of purposes. Making 2 points makes the most sense. He might choose to drop a farmer on the right. Oh no, he goes for the style points. Yeah, he goes for the style points. Oh lordy. Of course he didn't have to do that, right? It's just flexing, but he's trying to invade that big road and munch on it. I mean, the normal move was simply to score 3 points. Also, like, yellow has a little bit going on for them. Maybe if they draw all the remaining curves, they can now score 4 points on the right. They can get another curve and score 4 points for the field on the right. And then maybe they can draw some sort of city tile. But instead, you see, like, the point of Obi here was to create an additional threat. So he did meeple this 1 point thing. And it kind of forced Lucy to try and block this square, which, as it turned out, was actually necessary. Obi now uses a curve to connect at the top. Actually, given the high number of curves remaining, this was a really, really nice move by Obi, choosing to connect. Lucy's trying to win his big field. And it's probably going to work. But it doesn't. So there's apparently one curvy tile available. Or no, there isn't. Yeah, so it's okay. So this was a bit of a desperation move without counting the tiles. There wasn't actually anything that was available here for invasion. But there's a piece of wisdom that I learned from the 2022 UK champion Chris Wallace. That sometimes if you're so far behind that the only way to win is a field invasion, then you don't even need to count the tiles. You just have to assume that they're there. Because if they're not there, you're losing anyway. And he wasn't. And this is actually how he won the 2022 national championship. He was losing the field 0 versus 2, and with his last 3 tiles, he managed to get 2 meeples in. Kind of gambling on those tiles because he was also trying to play really fast to make his opponent run out of time, which he didn't succeed because his opponent, Daniel Cheng, still had 1 second on his clock remaining. And he was really playing against the clock, but also the requisite tiles just happened to be there. And this is something that Theo now tried to do himself, kind of not bothering with the counting and just realizing, you know what, we just have to hope that the curve is there, because this is the best that we can score. But we can see that even that would not have made a difference. That field was, what, like 15 points? So 12 extra for yellow if he connects, and the difference on the board is just ginormous. Alrighty, so well played is saying, Theon is saying to his opponents. And then there are a couple of words which I don't know. Is opening? Well, I mean, from context, it kind of doesn't really follow. Yeah, the training makes more sense. But why is training... What is it cognate to in other Germanic languages? It can't be possibly cognate to opening. Yeah, so good training before April, I'll be saying, referring, of course, to the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship, which is happening in April. Wait, did I understand correctly that Obi-Wan is... So what is... Megdan? Because if he's saying congratulations, then it's a bit misplaced, right? Because he's saying something something with the national Dutch championship, and I presume that that something is congratulations, which would be misplaced because Zwollywood is the one who won. Yeah, and then Loosey Goosey is correcting him, like, dude, what are you saying? Wait. Okay, I don't get this. I need my interpreters in the chat. Thank you for helping me out. Written Dutch is harder than I thought. Yeah, because why? Maybe Obi just didn't know that the championship was already yesterday? Oh no, he was just asking, okay. Yep. That makes sense. He was just asking if he participated. But he didn't put a question mark, which I guess made him misunderstand. Ah, hi Johan. Congratulations on your win. We were actually following your duel for the most part. Okay, now y'all will need to explain me in the chat. Why was a Belgian participating in the Dutch Championship? I know that there are some places with like very, very loose borders. Yesterday, I was thinking that there should be an in-person version of this match in this... How is this city called? It's like has a hyphenated name. Starts with a B. Let me just look this up real quick. You'll know which city I'm talking about. With, just wait a second. Baarle-Hertog. Yes, that's the one, or Baarle-Nassau. So this match, there should be an in-person of this, which is held in Baarle-Hertog. That's, you know, like the city in, which is half in Belgium and half in Netherlands. And they should also just play right in the street and put the tables in such a way so that the Belgian players are in Belgium and the Dutch players are in the Netherlands, and actually no borders are being crossed. But before that, why was there exactly Belgium in the national championships? Yep. Yeah, and thank you, Nicholas. So Baarle-Nassau is the Dutch name, or the name of the Dutch part of that city. But anyway, look it up. It's a very fascinating city. I'm sure that most of you have seen the memes of like there's a cafe and then there's like a corner which is marked BE and there's another corner which is marked NL, and you just keep crossing multiple international borders if you just go to work. It's fun. Oh, very interesting idea. So Belgians are allowed to participate in the Dutch Championship, but you're not allowed to represent the Netherlands. Wait, is the Belgian and the Dutch Championship held on the same day or not? Because if they're organized by the same company, it would make sense. It would also prevent somebody from participating in two national championships. But wait, no, why would they organize on the same day? Because if they were to be organized on the same day, then I would know the Belgian champion in addition to the Dutch champion, but I don't. Oh, okay, so Dutch people can also participate in Belgium, which now makes more sense. It's fair. Okay, let me just update the score to show that Belgium, honestly, I have to say, like, somewhat surprisingly, has defeated Netherlands 4-1. I thought it was an equal match going on. I would have maybe even like given the Netherlands a 55% edge or so. Although that was before the lineup change. As there were, it was initially going to be a 7 versus 7, but then, you know, life happened. Anyway, hopefully this was somewhat instructive, entertaining, or inserts another positive adjective that you might get out of this. Some more friendly matches are in order, but in case there aren't, our next stream is going to happen on the 23rd of March, my showdown against Nalaheim, our best of 5 streamers duel, so make sure to all be there. Meeple the like button if you like this video, and subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne content like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.